Okay, so what I'm going to show you is kind of a do-it-yourself trick to do the brake snip on your Kia Stinger remotely. So there's some really good forums out there that talk about the brake snip and tapping into that wire and putting a manual switch and getting underneath the hood, flipping the switch on and off. And I got to thinking about it, and there's some really good ideas out there on the forum, and I decided to go and hit Amazon and try and find a remote switch. So I found one. This is it. I'll put a link below at the end of the video. You guys can go check it out. I think it was like $9. So this is it. Really simple device. It shows up with the remote control relay and key fob. 4 wires. You got a red and a black. That's for power. This thing can take anywhere from 3 volts to 12 volts, so hooking it into car battery, no issues whatsoever. I think I'm going to hook up just a 9 volt battery to mine. The current draw on these is just a couple milliamps. A 9 volt will probably last you 2 or 3 years, so I'm really not too concerned, but more to follow on that on how I wire it into the car. But yep, that's where you put your hot lead and your ground. The other 2 are for your switch. So the way this comes, it is wired open, meaning there's no continuity between these 2 leads when it comes out of the box. Well, that's not good, because that means if there's no power to this or something happens to the fob, that brake snip is going to stay open, and you don't really want that. So what I did is I unsoldered the yellow wire, and I just moved it over, which is normally closed. So what that does is if you put these 2 in line in replace of your manual switch, whether this has power, the key fob goes bad, anything goes wrong, that brake snip is going to stay connected for safety purposes. So the only way it'll open and activate the actual brake snip to go into beast mode is if you hit the remote. A will turn it on, which actually opens the circuit, and B will shut it off, which actually will close the circuit. Or if you kill power to the vehicle, the circuit will close and you're safe. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up, and I'll give you a little demonstration. Okay, so I got this thing pretty much wired up like it's going to be in the car. I've got a DC power supply underneath my bench here. I got it set for 9 volts. So I've got the positive lead and the negative lead to the black and red, pretty simple. And over here I got a couple other leads, and they're just leading to a multimeter. So you know what a multimeter does. My one particularly has the continuity function in it, which means if there's continuity, if you take the 2 leads and you touch them, you're going to hear a beep. When the 2 leads separate, the beep goes away. So I've already applied power to this, and I've already shut it off, so I wouldn't have to talk over the beep. So what I'm going to do is actually put it back into its neutral state, which is normally closed. So I'm going to hit the B button. Okay, so what that means now, let me shut this back off. That's open. So what I did was I hit the B button, which closed it. In its natural state, i.e. if I lose power, if I cut this off, you're going to hear that multimeter go off again. Okay, so it just released that latch. That's the safety thing about this, and that's why it's great. That's why it's great having a normally closed position as opposed to normally open. So if you lose power or something goes wrong or something faults out, it's going to automatically go to its natural position, which is closed, and you won't have to ride around with the brake snip, which really isn't that good for your vehicle. So that's it hooked up. Down here, the blue and the yellow, you know, it doesn't matter which way it goes. There's no positive and negative. It's just a continuity switch, so it doesn't matter when you cut your wire. If you already have a switch there, if you put the yellow one on, you know, doesn't matter which angle. It just does. Electronically, it won't matter. So there it is. This is the remote control brake snip. I'm going to be, yep, shut it off. I'm going to be hooking up into the Stinger. So next part of the video, I'll show you my install. Thanks. All right, so Amazon showed up with my project boxes. Link is below. The reason I chose these is because of the size. They're fairly small. It's one of the smallest ones I can find. But more importantly, it has a clear lid. So I can see in there and look at the LED if I ever had to, kind of troubleshoot it. And the third is it actually has a rubber gasket for water protection. So all I did was drill the hole, use the rubber grommet here. And if you do this, make sure you put like a zip tie on the inside for strain relief. I'm just going to run this off a 9-volt battery for now. I'll probably wire it into the car later. More to follow on that, but this thing will work just fine off a 9-volt. Again, the way this works, it is in its it's in its open position right now because I've already turned it on, and if I shut it off, so now the brake snip is open, and I just opened it up. So now I can run with the brake snip by the BMS folks. So thanks. Gonna go install it in the car now. Okay, the last part, but this shouldn't be any secret to anybody. Got my switch right there. It's where most people put them, or they'll hide them underneath their plastic cover. So for now, I found a pretty good spot right here for the switch. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere. What I'm gonna do is take out the switch and wire it up here, and then I'll give you another shot once it's done. Okay, so there it is, wired in. Put your cover back on. Can't see the switch. But after doing this, I had a thought. It's up to you guys. But if you look how small this thing is, that's what I put in the box, right? You could literally electrical tape this thing down along one of these harnesses and just wire it in like that. So if you're a minimalist and you don't want to get creative and get some boxes, there's an option for you. But guys, thanks for looking. Remote control, BMS brake snip. Thanks.